Hi, this is Dr. Ben Morrill, and welcome to Reptile Genetics Weekly, the show where the reptile community comes to stay at the cutting edge of genetic research. Whether you're a keeper, a breeder, or just fascinated by reptiles, we're glad you're here. At Rare Genetics, we brought genetic testing to the reptile hobby since 2017, and every episode we bring you the discoveries, technology, and insights shaping the future of the hobby. All right, so for those of you that have been watching the channel for a while, we, as you can tell, we're trying out a new tagline, so you have to let us know in the comments if you like that or any suggestions. We'll want to be able to have a good summary of what we're doing here, what we're presenting here. So let us know what you think and if you have any suggestions. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and jump into sample updates. So we have had some little bit of delays here and there with shipping with things. We're not in the storm season so much, or at least not the cold weather, but now we've got other things moving in here and there. But in general, it looks like this week we should be pretty good. The only downside is Friday is the 3rd of July. So there might be on Friday, we may not have as many things coming through, but other than that, should be a pretty normal week. Have fast tests going out most every day and sex determination going once or twice this week. And then the panels, update on panels, those are getting started actually probably today, the same day you're watching this, or tomorrow, something like that. So I would imagine results for the next panels will come through this weekend or early next week. So yeah, we're getting close to another round of panels. Thank you all. We know it's the busy season, lots of babies being hatched, but yeah, we are very thankful to be able to help you figure out what all you're hatching out. So that's fun and exciting. But yeah, that's all I got. Kayla, how are you doing?
Hey Ben, I'm doing good. I am here with Mimosa, who is we'll tell you guys about her and why I have her hanging out. But for now, I'm doing great. I'm still waiting for my first pips of the year to happen. We're like on day 59, I think, of Panini's clutch to start hatching, and so I'm like checking it like 2 or 3 times a day, which a watched egg never pips and all that, but wish me luck and patience while I wait for these guys to pip. But all the eggs made it through incubation. All of them look pretty darn good. There's one that had like a weird gooey part, like there's some clear goo that has come out of it and stayed out of it for the most of incubation, but it looks good. So we'll see how we'll see how it goes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really weird. But anyway, for those of you who are just now starting to get into genetic testing, there's kind of a lot that goes into what we do. And part of that is developing tests. And the way we do that is by having sheds submitted to us in the first place. And so if you've never done that, you can send in sheds for things that we don't currently test for. All we need is a little dry quarter-size piece of shed or smaller even. And you can throw in the animal's animal ID or name, known sex, known morphs, possible morphs, breeder info, lineage info, and mail it to that address you see in the bottom there. That's for research only, not for testing. If you're ordering a test, you can go to our website. But just for those of you who are still getting into things, I just wanted you to see that while we start off.
And wanted to give a brief shout out to people for some of the sheds we've been getting. So as a thank you to those that have followed this right here and sent sheds in. So a couple people that have sent a bunch of boa sheds in, John Carlson and Chris Houston. So that's Sunrise Boas.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. A bunch of different morphs and boas that we're working on. Also, American Made Exotics. We got a whole bunch of visual tri-stripes, so still working on tri-stripes.
Awesome.
And he said that he potentially may have 2 different origins, 2 different lines. So that might be part of why we're having a hard time figuring out tri-stripe.
Cool.
But he's pretty sure if there are 2 different mutations, he's got some from each. So yeah, thank you, Matt. We appreciate American Made Exotics sending those in. And then we've got a whole bunch of hog noses from Bluestone. So Bluestone, thank you. And those of you, when you send sheds in, if you send stickers or cards or anything you want us to share when we do shout outs, we'll try to do that too. But yeah, thank you all so much. As we've said many times on the show, we literally can't do it without your help, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys rock. Thank you so much. Okay, let me explain the mouse. So this is Mimosa. Let me come on up here. All right, so this is Mimosa. The reason that I am showing her off today for a little, mouse genetics weekly, is something that you actually can't see on camera. So this is mostly just, I think she's cute and I wanted to show her off. But let me show you the pictures that actually do her some justice. I'm pretty sure she's a chimera, which is an animal that, for one reason or another, is displaying two different phenotypes, that it could be from two different animals that fused in utero, or some sort of, there are probably other mechanisms that could cause this. But if you look at this picture of Mimosa, she's got a champagne mutation up on her head and kind of a little cape there. And then the back half of her is this orangish. And it's super subtle. That's why this camera won't pick it up, so I could show you on video. But I spotted her at the Wildlife Center's well, actually, my friend spotted her at the Wildlife Center's colony, brought her up to me and was like, "What's going on with this mouse?" And I was like, "Oh my God." So I yoinked her because there's no way she's getting fed off to a raptor. I just wanted to show her off because I know you genetics nerds would appreciate it. Also, we can kind of relate that to the stuff that we've been doing with reptiles. So I told Ben that, at least with the champagne mutation that I'm sure of, in mice, this is basically a chocolate mouse who is just brown all over. Not the wild type, but just like a plain chocolate, usually with black eyes. But when you add in a pink-eyed dilution, which is not the same mutation as hypo in ball pythons, but it kind of seems to act that way. So it just reduces the appearance of melanin and it dilutes color. So chocolate turns to the champagne, the black eyes turn pink. And then I have no idea what's going on back here. Maybe it's the lethal yellow mutation, but also the hair colors are different. So it could be an argent, which is an agouti or wild type, but with the pink-eyed dilution. But I don't know. I'm going to try and prove it out with breeding because I've got my colony at home, but we'll still figure out.
The chocolate is the same gene that gives us ultramel and ball pythons. So
that's cool.
And I told Kayla the other thing that might have happened is this might have just been a dirty mouse that someone dipped in water and then let it dry off and then showed it to her. So.
Exactly. And Kaylee's routinely, just dunking mice in water, and here you go. In which case, that's not very nice. But
that's cool. That's interesting. So we had the chimera that actually American made, the same one that sent the tri-stripes. He had one that's this way down the middle. And this is one that's the other way. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really striking. This one's usually it's a very striking thing to see, but then you get some more subtle ones, and it you have to look at her just right in the best lighting to be able to see it. But it's really neat. So I love being able to compare mouse genetics to the stuff that we do here. So it's pretty fun. If any of you reptile keepers also have a good time with mice genetics, sound off in the comments. Tell me how you're playing God with your rodents in between snake clutches. But anyway, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. New tests coming up. Ben has been working so hard. That's why we haven't had an episode in like 2 weeks. Because this poor man is basically, like I described when we popped in on Colubrid and Colubroid Radio's podcast last week. I was like, Ben is basically just like huddled up in his little bunker in the ceiling, and he's like poking his head out to say hello, and he's going back up to go analyze more data. So Ben, take it away. What you been doing up in your ceiling bunker?
Yeah, thankfully since the beginning of the year, working closer with Hudson Alpha, our partner that does genomics work. It's been like drinking from a fire hose. They've got tons of data all the time. So I'm staying very busy. I'm definitely not getting bored.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we've got a couple. So as we talked about before, there's many steps along the process to get a test where it's ready for us to run customer samples.
Mhm.
And so we have a couple that reached the very end this week. So that's rainbow and ball pythons and conda and hognoses.
Nice.
So we told you before they were in the last stages, the last part of validation, final validation. But now they are validated for fast testing. And so if you order rainbow or conda and hognose now and send it in, then they can do that 1 to 2 day turnaround. So those are at the
Awesome.
finish line, past the finish line, ready to go.
Woo! And just a reminder, and you'll see this little ticker tape going at the bottom of your screen. But the latest tests that we're showing off today are only available on raregeneticsinc.com, our website, and also the rainbow ball python test should be popping up on Clutch very soon. Now that it is available as a fast test, we just got to basically give them a chance to just add it into their inventory, as it were. Good job, Ben. That's awesome. And as a side note, I don't know if we said this for albino hognose as well, but that's also running as a fast test, right?
Yes.
And has been. Got it. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Sweet. So fast test validation. What is the difference between regular validation and fast test validation?
So the first thing I'll usually do is be able to see through sequencing. I'll have enough samples that I can run through sequencing to tell that a test is working. But sequencing, that's like what we do on the panel runs. And so for a customer, if all we can do is the sequencing test, then that takes 3 to 5 weeks. Whereas on a fast test, once I can validate it as a fast test, it's very, very specific to the base change or mutation, whatever the change is that causes the morph that we're excited about. So it's very specialized and specific for that change. And that makes it so that we can do fast turnaround. So that's why we call it a fast test with the extra S's for the sound,
Awesome. So the Burmese python piebald mutation is available as a test. And then, so within the next week or so, hopefully you should have it validated as a fast test, meaning that you could have a clutch of possible het pied berms popping out. You can wait till they send that shed to us. And as soon as we get it at the lab, within 1 to 2 business days, you'll have results.
Yep.
So that's really cool, especially for your giant species. Because, having a bunch of, there's a big difference between having a bunch of corn snake babies in your inventory and having a bunch of Burmese python babies unsold. So that's huge. Good to know.
Yes.
And speaking of giants, retics for piebald and OGS, orange ghost stripe, are also in validation for fast tests, which is crazy. I feel like we just rolled those out. That's so exciting.
Yes. Yep. They're coming quick now.
Again, also only available on raregeneticsinc.com. And blood pythons. Hey, we didn't have Matrix on there last week, I don't think. So that's cool.
Yeah. So that one cleaned up fast, sometimes, and I think we did have Goldeneye, and that one ended up being kind of problematic. So that one dropped out.
Okay.
I might still have it, but it's not clean for me. But Matrix cleaned up faster than I thought it would. So that one's actually doing better now. So that one we may have ready as a fast test. But the T positive and T negative, that's probably more helpful. There's probably a lot more posset albinos out there than combos with Matrix that you want to get tested. So all three of those, hopefully within the next week, 2 weeks at the most, we'll have those all working on fast tests.
That's awesome. Plus, that's also a good way to talk about how in our last episode we had Goldeneye listed there, and that is part of the fun of the validation phase, where sometimes you're like, okay, I have a really solid hit, or Ben is doing this. Ben's the secret sauce with this. He will say, I have a really good hit. It's in validation phase, but there is always that small chance that once he tries to eke out that over 95% accuracy, it drops, and we're like, okay, it's not at the 99%, over 99% that we expect, so we're not going to sell it yet. Which is good for you guys, because you'll know that if it's not there, we're not going to sell it. But if it is really, really close, or if it's 99% or more accurate, then that is something that we are confident putting our name behind. So, yay! Good to see Matrix just fell out of the tree, as it were. That's fantastic. And speaking of final validation, not fast test validation, but regular validation, it is the highly requested BOA sex determination test. Yes.
Yes. We've
awesome.
had many people ask for this, and yeah, we're there now. And actually, within the next week or two, we probably will have it as a fast test too. So,
what? Wait, fast test sex determination? Seriously?
Yep. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. We've got a lot more resources and tools now. There's cool things we can do, and so yeah, this is looking good. So that would make it so. As long as it does make it through this final validation, which, like we just said, every once in a while they don't. But yeah, as long as it makes it through it, then yeah, it would be where same thing with all the morph tests, where if you send in a shed and you want to know sex for a BOA, you'd have your results in 1 to 2 business days.
Dude, that's crazy. And you know those BOA litters, those things are huge. That's going to be, oh my gosh, that's going to be like Christmas morning opening up all of those results. Wow, that is too cool. And I actually didn't know the fast test part. That's crazy. So is that going to be something that we can do for colubrids as well, and ball pythons, or are we just shooting for boas first and then going later, or do we know?
Boas first, because we're able to use the new tools that we have for that. But yeah, to be able to go back and redesign some of the ones we've been running for a while, we'll at some point do that. Probably not during the summer when things are super busy, but
that's fair.
Maybe in 2 or 3 months, we'll go back and redesign and make the colubrid, at least some of the colubrids a more specific fast test. And then I think for sure with ball pythons, we'll be able to switch that to be fast test also.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And the other several new sex tests we'll have besides BOA, those hopefully will also be fast tests, and those aren't too far behind. Some of those will likely come out through the summer, so we got more sex tests coming.
That's so cool. And yeah, no, there are a few that people are really, really jonesing for a few different species, so that's exciting.
Yeah. And fingers crossed, I think there's a decent chance we'll finally have our first lizard test by the end of the summer.
What? No way. Oh my gosh. I hope so.
Yeah.
That's going to be so cool.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk BOA tests. We've now rolled out Call and Sharp Albino, Prodigy, I should say that correctly, Prodigy Albino, Anery Type 1, Aztec, the newly named JPC/NFI Albino. And of course, sex determination, as long as things go well and it's up to snuff the way we expect it to be. Hopefully that'll be in the next week or 2.
Any of them we don't have yet, especially if it's a homozygous or visual or super, if it's got 2 copies of that mutation, then you especially would love that. Obviously some of them, like, jungle and some of the others that are a little difficult, Aztec, to make supers, or they don't do as well, that might be difficult. And Motley, that's another big one that would be difficult to have homozygous ones, but yeah, any of them you can get homozygous ones or supers for, those sheds will still be helpful.
Excellent. Sounds good. So again, if you want to submit those sheds, raregeneticsinc.com/help.
If you're a BOA nerd, BOA genetics nerd, and really want to know what's coming next, at least I can tell you what we're working on the hardest is definitely blood and leopard and VPI. Sterling, excellent. I'm liking what I'm seeing with Sterling. I'm liking what I'm seeing with Fire. So those are all ones that we're getting closer on. And I know a lot of you are interested in the RDR, the black-eyed anery stations. I'm still working on those. Those are a little messy, but definitely carbon and the RDR aneries, we're working on those too. So that's actually John Carlson, the ones he sent were to help with the carbon side of that. So
very nice.
Yeah, any of the others, we can definitely use more sheds.
Sounds good. So near and dear to my heart, tell me about the hog noses.
Hogs. So we did get Conda going. There are a few that we have starred here that we could definitely use more homozygous animals.
Okay.
Yeah, the others, yeah, any of them. Once again, if you have homozygous or supers, we could definitely use more sheds. But I would say there's a good chance in the next 2 to 4 weeks we'll have at least a couple more hognose ones come through.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Looking
liking
forward
what
to
I'm
that.
seeing for toffee belly and lavender, and we even
Nice.
have a possibility for Swiss chocolate, but I think I'm going to need more sheds to know for sure if it's real. So
Yeah, for those who are listening along, we've got surprisingly Arctic and Axanthic starred for desired homozygous sheds, which I've got a super Arctic boy right over here, so I'm going to be sending you a Mothman sample, and Axanthic, which do you want to talk about Axanthic? How like that's been a little funky? Because I know when we got Axanthic sheds donated by the hognose community, people were like, we got so many of them. So do you think it's kind of like the ball python thing where maybe there's a few different Axanthics floating around?
definitely could be. In ball pythons, we know there's at least 3 different mutations in 3 different genes that are on 3 different chromosomes. So,
Yeah.
it's very possible. And then with anery and boas, it's kind of a similar thing. There's definitely at least 2 different genes in 2 different locations. So the anery type 1 we have a test for. It seems very clear that the black-eyed anery is in a different location, different gene. So yeah, that might be part of it. Is just trying to figure out to tease apart. I don't know, any of you that are hognose fans have been for a long time and know the history with Axanthics, if it's possible there were different founders. Because that's what happened with ball pythons. But if they're if all the Axanthics are breeding so that they are compatible, so like if you breed 2 Axanthics together, you always get all Axanthics, then it's probably not the same problem as ball pythons. Because in ball pythons, they had 2 different breeders that had Axanthic animals. They bred them together expecting to make Axanthics, and they got all normal looking ball pythons that were double hets because they weren't compatible. So if there's been enough breeding, they know that all the Axanthics are compatible, then that would mean that it's likely multiple mutations in the same gene, which still will make it a little harder for us to find, but we should be able to find it. But if it's like ball pythons and they're not compatible, then we would need to tease apart which samples are from which lines, and that'll take a little longer. So yeah, you that know some of that history, chime in the comments or reach out to, especially Kayla. Kayla would be happy to talk about that with you, and
Yes,
that might
please.
help to get that one nailed down.
Oh yeah, a lot of hognose people are requesting Axanthic too, so that would be I'd really love to help figure out what's going on there. And leucistic, we can use more homozygous Lucy sheds, pink pastel albinos. I know there are people who work with that a lot. And sables too. So, and cinnamons, definitely need more cinnamons. And again, if you want to send those sheds in, you don't need to send the whole shed, just a dry patch shed that was not in the water dish. Again, any water will denature that DNA and make it het fungus that we cannot test. So no het fungus, dry shed, any known sex, who that animal is, animal ID, name, whatever. Known morphs, possible morphs, breeder info if possible, if known, and any lineage info. All of that is helpful. You kind of can't give us too much. You can't give us too much info on your animal. We may not be able to use all of it immediately, but it's really helped us figure out some cool stuff in the ball python world. And I know that we're going to have those same experiences in other species. And I'm just excited for us to find out what those are in the future. But that's pretty much all we've got today. We're keeping it kind of short and sweet. Here's what we've been doing, or what Ben's been doing in the last couple of weeks. And I think that's all. That's where we're going to leave it today.
And I'll go back to it. I got more validation running right now as we're recording. So it'll be fun to see how that turns out.
Excellent. Well, fingers crossed for everything working exactly as planned. Yeah. Make sure you subscribe to stay at the forefront of reptile genetics research with us. Bye.